you very much. Minister for State for Mental Health and Older People, Helen McEntee, I very much welcome you here to Trinity College this afternoon and to your new role, and very much look forward to working with you in the future. I also want to welcome our Provost, Dr. Patrick Pendergast, our international partners, colleagues and friends. And as the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences here at Trinity, it gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone here this afternoon to this very important event and the launch of ProACT. ProACT, as many of you in this room will be aware, is a new cutting-edge digital health technology project. It is led by Ireland and Trinity College and the School of Nursing and Midwifery and the Centre for Practice and Healthcare Innovation within the school. And it's very much focused around enabling older people with multiple chronic disease to self-manage their conditions, to live a life that they wish to lead in the community of their choice, supported by, a range of healthcare professionals often required, indeed, to support the needs of multiple morbidity. And I think perhaps the challenges in the systems in the past has been that we have often tend to focus on single disease and the management of single pathways. But as any of us who are perhaps getting older will know that old age isn't about which ailment I'm going to get, but it's indeed about how many I'm going to get and in what combination. So I suppose that's perhaps something that we should try to warn against and protect. But I feel that through this new ProACT system, a range of new and exciting care applications, sensors and healthcare technology devices will be linked. And this is what's really required, because one of the biggest challenges, of course, facing us is the management of chronic disease and supporting people to remain in the communities, and particularly to have care that doesn't require hospitalisation. So this will link really our GPs, our pharmacists, our clinicians, our nurses, our doctors, and all of those clinicians really to a system via technology, via perhaps a tablet, a smartphone or a computer, so that they can access relevant information from one centralised location. Trinity College, I think, is well positioned to lead a project of this nature. It is a world-leading university, and it has many major programmes, of course, within the healthcare arena, health and healthcare, telecommunications, programmes around neuroscience, ageing, independent living, digital arts and humanities, intelligent systems, and of course, our most recently launched Global Brain Health Institute, which is an initiative between Trinity College and the University of California, San Francisco. And I think this is a critically important initiative. And all of these, of course, build together to help Trinity to input into the solving of complex health conditions. So I am particularly pleased, of course, as the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, to see this project positioned within a School of Nursing and Midwifery and within the faculty. And any of you that have had a look at the mission of the faculty will see, and it's a number of years ago that we put this down, well, really it is about, we are about the highest quality of care being offered to each individual, about the pursuit of research to find new solutions to complex health concerns, and about the translating the results of research to improve bedside care, manage risk factors, prevent disease, ease convalescence, and maintain quality of life and community living. And it is always about seeing the individual as much more than the disease and symptoms. And we stand up here to meet the health challenges and to contribute to the excellence and traditions of Trinity College and the schools within the faculty. And the Centre for Practice and Healthcare Innovation, which this project is location, really is very much focused on linking patients, health professionals, service, policy groups and industry. I particularly want to congratulate Dr. John Dinsmore, who is the lead on this project, and I think John has done sterling work in bringing a project of this nature to fruition. I think his energy and enthusiasm and foresight has been really spectacular. I also want to congratulate Professor Anne-Marie Brady, who's the lead of the centre, and indeed the head of school, Catherine Comiskey, Professor Catherine Comiskey. And that said, I think this project is much more than just about Trinity College. And I think its excellence lies in its collaborators, its partners. It's bringing together 12 partner organisations across 6 EU member states. And I think it's because of this that really ProACT will revolutionise the fields of integrated care, clinical and health research, patient and stakeholder engagement, data solutions, and ICT design and development. And I want to congratulate and particularly welcome our representatives from several critical partners in industry who are at the core of this project and exemplify really the successful partnering with industry that has become so critical in the advancement and translation of university-based research with outcomes that really benefit society. And those partners, and I'm just going to briefly mention our partners, I particularly want to welcome them. IBM Research Ireland, who is linked with research labs and 3,000 scientists in and outside the US to push the boundaries very much around science, technology and business to make the world a much better place. Philips is a leading health technology company that leverages advanced technology and deep clinical and consumer insights to deliver integrated solutions and is a leader in diagnostic imaging, image guide therapy, patient monitoring and health informatics, as well as, of course, custom health and home care. Also want to welcome Netwell, the Casala Centre from the Dundalk Institute, who we have been partners with indeed on many occasions. It's a cross-sectoral multidisciplinary research centre aimed at developing new ideas to support ageing in place and to enhance quality of life and well-being of older adults through technology, community and environmentally based interventions. And iMinds from Belgium, I particularly want to welcome you here, is an independent research institute founded by the Flemish government to stimulate ICT innovation and involving more than 8,000 researchers from a range of universities and knowledge centres. Our friends and colleagues from UCC, the Tyndall National Institute, which is a leading information and communications technology research institute in Ireland, which is really very much supporting industry and academics across the country. AIS Bologna from Italy, both an Italian association for individuals, people with functional limitations and disabilities, their family members and friends, and it's an SME with over 100 employees. Trilogic, our colleagues from Trilogic in Spain, an R&D intensive company aiming to create and boost, develop and adapt scientific and technological knowledge to improve daily life. Of course, our colleagues from Home Instead Care Ireland, which is a global leader in improving home care for seniors, offering a franchise model for in-home non-medical care in the US and 19 countries worldwide. And the Association for Advancement of Assistive Technology in Europe, Austria, is a pan-European sector organisation with members in more than 20 countries, and it's really aiming to increase the number of people with functional limitations that can effectively use technology-based alternative solutions. And the European Association of Services for Persons with Disabilities from Belgium represents over 10,000 server provider organisations from 20 member countries and very much focuses on the promotion of equal opportunities for people with disabilities through high quality systems. And lastly, but by no means least, ASP City di Bologna from Italy, providing integrated social and health services for older and disabled adults to ensure better quality of life. So really, there is so many partners, and it just gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here today, to hope that this is really the start of something really big and the start of something really exciting. I think having all of these people with such diverse skills and interests come together to really tackle one of the big global challenges is extremely exciting and interesting. So I wish you all very well. I would now like to welcome our Provost, Dr. Patrick Pendergast, to say a few words.
Minister, colleagues, guests, ladies and gentlemen, you're all very welcome to the PACAR Theatre and Science Gallery on this exciting occasion, the launch of ProACT, the Horizon 2020 project to advance home-based integrated care for older adults suffering chronic medical conditions. As we know, Europe has an ageing population. The EU's old age dependency ratio, that is, the ratio of the number of older people compared to those aged between 15 and 64, it's projected to almost double from 28% currently to 51% by 2080. This is a good thing, but ageing is associated with chronic illnesses, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease, chronic pulmonary disease, and cognitive failure. Often patients will suffer several such illnesses, a condition known as multimorbidity. Currently, Europe has 50 million such patients and spends €700 billion annually on chronic disease management. When I read that figure first, I had to go back, see was it actually right? I'm not so sure it is even right, but maybe someone here knows. 700 billion. It's a lot of money. Ideally, patients should be able to understand and self-manage their conditions so that they can continue to live independently at home and so that the costs can be managed. This is where ProACT comes in. ProACT is an ambitious digital health research programme funded by the European Commission under Horizon 2020. It brings together, as Mary has said, a consortium of 12 organisations across 6 EU member states. The organisations are diverse. They include academic research institutions such as Trinity College, health service providers, SMEs, ICT multinationals, and EU networks, including the European Association of Service Providers for Persons with Disabilities. We will shortly hear from some of the key partners involved in the consortium, including the project coordinator in Trinity, the IBM Executive for Government Affairs, the Senior Director in Philips UK, and the President of ASP Città di Bologna. They will explain what's involved in the project from their different perspectives and the project's likely impact. This pairing of researchers with stakeholders and industry partners will help ensure that ProACT's research outputs are exploited to the full across the EU. The open nature of the technology being developed will provide opportunities for engagement with other researchers and SMEs who may develop applications to link with the system. So it's a hugely exciting programme for all the partners involved, for Europe, and for older people living with chronic diseases. The Trinity Centre for Practice and Healthcare Innovation, or TCPHI, is the project coordinator. The centre, established in March 2012, focuses on facilitating interactive collaborations between patients, caregivers, health professionals, healthcare providers, researchers, policymakers, and industrial and enterprise partners. I am proud and delighted that Trinity is coordinating this important project, which I take as recognition of the university's interdisciplinary strengths in research and ageing. Trinity is the coordinator of the Irish Longitudinal Study on Ageing. This has the acronym TILDA, and Project TILDA has been ongoing since 2006 and has had an international impact. 6 months ago, we launched the Global Brain Health Institute, or GBHI, as a joint initiative between Trinity College and UCSF, the University of California, San Francisco. This was enabled by the largest ever philanthropic donation given to an Irish university. Funded by Atlantic Philanthropies, GBHI will tackle the looming dementia epidemic and improve care worldwide. It aims to train global leaders in brain health by the rapid translation of research in neuroscience and ageing into policy. The investment by the Irish government, Atlantic Philanthropies, which is the philanthropic funder behind it, and the EU's in Trinity's flagship projects in ageing has enabled this university to become a recognised global leader in ageing research. And researchers in ageing come from across all faculties and disciplines, including epidemiology, geriatric medicine, demography, social policy, psychology, economics, nursing, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, engineering, and technology-related sciences. I note also the other Irish partners in ProACT, UCC Tyndall National Institute, the Casala Netwell Centre at Dundalk IT, and Home Instead Senior Care. ProACT draws on significant Irish expertise, and this is emblematic of Ireland's hugely improved performance in Horizon 2020 as compared to FP7, and its hugely improved performance in European Research Council funding. In fact, in European Research Council ERC funding, Ireland jumped from the second lowest performer to the second highest in the recent round of grants. Only one country performs better in ERC than Ireland, and that's Israel. But we'll catch them the next time. So now, as a whole country, of course, we've increased our target for Horizon 2020 funding from 600 million to 1.25 billion. And this success has come about because universities and public bodies have adopted a partnership approach. SFI, Enterprise Ireland, the IRC, and universities have worked cohesively, sharing knowledge and pooling expertise. Ireland now provides an example across the EU of how to approach funding applications. I would like to pay tribute to the government for their part in this. I'd also like to pay tribute to the EU partners involved in ProACT. The diversity and depth of experience and expertise promises great things. I thank my Trinity colleagues, particularly the project coordinator, Dr. John Dinsmore, Deputy Director of TCPHI, and Professor Mary McCarran, Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, who is assisting in the overall coordination of the project. And I thank the European Commission for its huge investment in European research and innovation. One of the partners in the ProACT consortium is Philips UK. I'm not going to speak for them, nor make a political speech, but it goes without saying that as president of a university involved in numerous EU-funded collaborations with our neighbouring island, I hope very much that we will be able to continue these partnerships in the future. We're not always as good as we could be in Europe when it comes to acknowledging the positive role of the European Commission. Negative stories seem to always come to the surface. Perhaps we should all make an effort to counter negativity by broadcasting success stories. Horizon 2020 is crucial for research of impact and for industry-academia partnerships, and it should be a household name. It's now my pleasure to officially launch ProACT, the Minister of State for Mental Health and Older People, Helen McEntee. Helen McEntee was first elected as a Fine Gael deputy to the Dáil in 2013 in a by-election, and she held her seat in this year's elections. A graduate of DCU in Economics, Politics and Law, she also has a Master's in Journalism and Media Communications from Griffith College. Previously, she has worked at a subsidiary of Citibank and as a parliamentary assistant in Leinster House, and has been active in raising awareness of mental health issues, working in campaigns for Pieta House Charity and for See the Light. Her appointment as a Minister of State was greeted positively by Mental Health Reform, a coalition of organisations campaigning for improvements to mental health services in Ireland. I thank the Minister for coming here today to launch this important programme. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister of State for Mental Health and Older People, Helen McEntee, TD.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that very warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I would say it's an absolute pleasure to be here today, and it's a pleasure to be here to officially launch ProACT. I would particularly like to welcome all of your distinguished guests and obviously speakers who are here, and to welcome you to Ireland. Normally we would say bring the sunshine with you. What I'm saying is please don't take it home with you. We have it, we want to keep it. I understand, as had already been mentioned, the international mix that is involved in ProACT and the partners working under the Horizon 2020 programme across the 6 states, and I'm pleased to say that this reflects the importance that is placed on this. Ireland is obviously, again, I'm pleased to say, a very active participant in a number of projects in this area. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the very significant funding that has been awarded, just under 5 million, that has been made available and that has made this programme possible. This model is a wonderful example of how EU member states can work together with dedicated research institutions and, of course, private enterprises. And I would note again the contributions made by the Ireland-based organisations that have already been noted. We live in an age of technology. If applied correctly, it can benefit and it can play a hugely important role for patient care in the community, and then again, if we look on a wider scale, for the entire health service. Technology has the potential to modernise the way we treat our patients, particularly allowing us to provide a care in the best setting and in the most appropriate way, which sometimes I think we struggle with, and particularly with our ageing demographic, with our ageing population. While it's great for us, we're all living longer, it is certainly putting a stress on our health system and many other systems on top of that. New technologies are allowing us to make progress by supporting the new patient care approaches. This results obviously in healthcare models that are more cost efficient to deliver. And again, to touch on the figures that have been mentioned there, 50 million patients in Europe with multimorbidity, and 70 to 80% of our healthcare costs are spent on chronic diseases, which is costing the figure that we've mentioned, 700 billion per annum. So obviously there are opportunities there to try and improve on that, and obviously to reduce this cost by managing patient care more efficiently and better. The initial system will be designed to, I believe, target integrated care for diabetes, for chronic heart failure, and for mild cognitive impairment. And obviously, as the new Minister for Mental Health and Older People, that's something that is of particular interest to me. A patient-managed approach, an integrated care, it shows us how the individual, how the healthcare system, and how the economy as a whole can actually benefit from all of this. The government itself and I recognise the importance of the healthcare in a community setting, and again how technology as a key enabler can hugely benefit this. I think we need to get to a stage whereby those who are suffering from chronic diseases, that they are better able to manage their own healthcare, their own well-being, but that it's in a scenario that is a non-acute environment. And I think we need to start moving more towards that. Technology obviously will help us to do that. It will allow us to continue to put patients and their well-being at the centre of our health system, and introducing new technology, adapting obviously technology that we have at the moment. It gives us an opportunity to create better access to services, to monitor our quality and safety, and again to empower people to look after their own health and their own well-being. The long-term success obviously of this particular project, the potential impacts of ProACT and on the healthcare system are yet to be ascertained. However, I think it is the potential that the programme actually brings about and offers that gives us the most hope for the future. And I think it is very exciting, the potential that it does create. We all recognise that the world of technology is changing, innovation is constantly changing and reinventing itself, but with that it means the opportunities are constantly growing too, and they're constantly expanding. So in saying that, as my role, or in my role, where as much as I can, as Minister with responsibility for mental health and older people, I will work with the organisations where I can to make sure that this project itself, it maximises, the potential is maximised, and obviously the benefits are felt within the health service and within the wider community. On that note, before I conclude, I just want to thank all of the guests again for being here today. I want to thank Trinity, all of the organisation and those involved in ProACT for asking me to be here to speak. As I said, I am excited to hear how this progresses over the years, and I would hope that you will keep me informed and keep in touch with me. I hope I'll still be here and in my role. If I'm not, you'll be able to find me anyway. But just to say, enjoy the rest of your stay, those of you who are here from further afield, and I look forward to working with all of you into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now I'm going to call on Dr. John Dinsmore to address us. And as many of you will have got to know John, he's been critical to building and leading this team of research. And John is not that long in Trinity, really, perhaps a couple of years, but he's certainly done sterling work. And it's interesting because John's background is in health psychology, and I think this has really helped him to, helped us to understand health behaviours in a way that we possibly may not have considered before. So I really want to welcome John and to thank him really for his leadership and drive in bringing this to fruition.
So welcome everyone. I'd first like to start by thanking the Provost and Minister for giving generously of your time today. It really means a lot to me and the team. Thank you very much. To our speakers, Sibo, Gianluca and Barry, thank you for making the trip to Trinity as partners and for giving up your expertise in this field of digital integrated care. To the wonderful Master of Ceremonies, Professor Miriam McCarran, your encouragement, your support, your belief in both myself and the Trinity Centre for Practice and Healthcare Innovation has been a fundamental cornerstone to this success. And for that we're extremely grateful and we'll continue to build upon. Personally, I'd like to thank two mentors that aren't here today actually. One is Professor Brian Harvey, who guided me through the realms of EU research. And the other is David Prendergast, or Dr. David Prendergast from Intel, who I suppose backed many of my ideas before they were fashionable. And I'd finally like to sort of thank, I would like to thank the people who will be involved in this programme. To those over 65 living with chronic health conditions, the health professionals, community workers, care coordinators, pharmacists, informal, formal caregivers, no words can truly express my gratitude for making this a reality and helping us on this journey. The road that brought me to this podium, it's long and sometimes difficult, but it takes an amazing team of talented and dedicated people to bring this together. So I'd like to thank all 12 partners across the 6 member states. The success rate for this call was 2.8%. So to take a concept in 2014, build it, drive it, and see it through with very thin margins is something everyone in the team should be extremely proud of. We have a unique group of individuals, and I think now we have both the responsibility and the privilege to lead this proposal. Could I just ask for a round of applause for the team and maybe get the team to stand up just to be recognised for their achievements. Come on, everyone. You got it. So I've been looking forward to this day for quite a while because, as a researcher, it's a privilege to lead a project like this. It's something you want to do in your career. And our goal actually as researchers is to tackle society's problems and find out what are the solutions we could bring. So there were 3 key shifts actually that led to ProACT. One was the rise in the over 65, that ageing population. Then the proportion of that population with multiple health conditions. And then finally the willingness of individuals over 65 to be empowered to live at home for longer, manage their health, and how technology could play a role in that process. So our goal in ProACT is to develop and validate a proof of concept digital integrated care health system that moves from a traditional healthcare model to one that's proactive. So what we want to do is move from one that reacts not only at the point of acute patient care, but empowers people to look after their own health and well-being, supported by their caregivers, their family and their friends. The reality is if our health system, if it continues to be reactive instead of proactive and preventative, the pressure will build and it just simply won't sustain. So we have to go in this direction. So within the call we'll do 2 things. The first will be to challenge the EU focus on a single disease framework of care. to create a new patient-centric integrated care ecosystem to understand and manage multimorbidity for over 65. And then we'll develop and evaluate a cloud-based API to integrate a variety of new and existing technologies to advance home-based care. Within ProACT, we have identified 4 key research areas for exploration and exploitation, and to improve the adoption of the system. I've been hanging around with my industry partners too long. So the first one is to improve patient engagement. So we want to understand how we can get individuals to adopt new lifestyle changes by using online services and empower them to look after their own health. We want to understand from the data how we improve workflow management, how we optimize and improve the efficiency and effectiveness of services to add value to patient care and increase revenue. We want to advance home-based care. So we need to understand and improve best practice around technology provision for well-coordinated continued care and person-centered care within the home. And the key challenge is to make sure that we do this effectively from that community base, from that home base. And the final one is we collect the data from the proactive model and understand from this data how to produce flexible, patient-centric services and business models to, I suppose, produce affordable proactive care. So, as we have already said many times, I think already this morning, we brought together 12 partners across 6 EU member states. It is a mixture of academic institutions, SMEs, multinational services and policy groups. We have 2 main trial sites, which have been set up in Louth in Ireland and in Ghent in Belgium. And then a transferability site, which will be set up in the Emilia-Romagna region of Bologna, and the system will be transferred here in year 3. As part of this, we'll also conduct an EU transferability analysis to understand the cultural, infrastructural, political, and economic barriers to allow us to take ProACT from Ireland and bring it across Europe. The main trial itself, they're quite small, they're proof of concept trials. So within Ireland and Belgium, we'll have 60 patients or clients, and within the transferability site, we'll have 15. The conditions we'll support will be diabetes, chronic heart failure, chronic heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and dementia. And patients that you can see are clients in the heart of the diagram. They will be supported by key support actors. These will include the informal and formal caregivers, community health professionals, hospital and discharge or outpatient health professionals, and pharmacists. And what we'd like to do with our technology is the person at the heart, they will receive technologies to track their clinical status, they will receive applications to, they'll receive technologies around personalized therapy and education towards self-management, and then finally applications to track or enhance their activity and areas of well-being and quality of life. The support actors, who you can see in this diagram, they then will be given tailored applications to receive information from the patient at the heart and interact with them in those areas that I mentioned. Our aim is to understand the data and how this data is exchanged within the system to provide and support proactive health care for the patient at the heart within the home. The trials themselves will involve an adaptive action research methodology, which will allow us to co-design around the individual and the support actors. And our aim is to scale this. I think that if we get this right, we can transition this across the age groups, across conditions, and build new applications. Finally, there are 5 real outcomes we would like to expect in the next 3 to 4 years. The first one is we want to define a digital integrated ecosystem for management of multimorbidity for over 65s. What is the impact on the individual and those support actors? We want to understand the relevance of the technology we introduce, and we want to understand the user experience and the technology acceptance models that we bring to those individuals. We want to understand the use, the ethics, and the protection around the data that we use. Is there trust in our data? And is it to the satisfaction of those that are using it? We will build a behavioural change framework to improve self-management and care practices, and we want to understand from this framework the impact on service delivery, on GP visits and hospital admissions. And finally, we need to transfer this system, we need to commercialise this system, we need to bring it to scale, we need to bring it to the population to help individuals at home. So we want to sustain and develop this across the EU, and we will work with our partners to do that. So finally, I would like everyone to join us on the journey. Each person we've invited here today, you're critical to our success. The vision for ProACT is to change the game in digital health, but we can only change the game if we have enough critical mass of individuals to support us and drive this. So I ask everyone here as game changers just to follow us on Twitter, to follow the website where we'll disseminate project findings, but more importantly, email, phone us, link in with us as collaborators. I think ProACT started with a cup of coffee in the Science Gallery. So it's amazing what a cup of coffee, a few great minds can do to bring really impactful ideas together. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for coming to help us celebrate the launch of ProACT.
Thank you very much, Sebo. That was really interesting, and very much look forward to working with Philips moving forward. I'm now going to ask Mr. Barry O'Brien, he's Executive of Government Affairs from IBM, to say a few words. Thank you, Barry.
So good afternoon, Minister, Provost, ladies and gentlemen. I have to start with a little disclaimer first. Despite what John said, I have zero expertise in as a researcher or a scientist or a healthcare professional. So with that disclaimer out of the way, what I would like to do is give you a little bit of context about IBM in Ireland and why we're involved in this ProACT project. So as it happens, this is a pretty significant year for us as IBM in Ireland. It's our 60th anniversary of being here. So since we started out in 1956 with 3 people, we've been lucky enough to be able to grow that sort of 1,000-fold or thereabouts over the years. So it's been a very positive story in terms of our involvement in Ireland. And in fact, our technology campus out just outside Dublin is now IBM's largest single site in Europe. So it's a very important centre for us here, and we're involved in a number of European projects through Horizon 2020 from that campus. Because the campus since 2010 has also been host to our research lab. So IBM has a long history in doing research. We invest a lot of money in it annually. And opening the research lab in Dublin was quite a coup for the local management team to convince the corporation to put that investment here. And one of the reasons that became possible, because it took a long time to do, but one of the reasons behind it was the government's sustained investment through Science Foundation Ireland in Irish university research, and really bringing the level and the quality of research that's done here in Irish universities up to a world-class level. And so being able to partner with universities like TCD is one of the great reasons why we were able to bring the research lab here to Ireland. And of course, the EU programme Horizon 2020 is a great platform for doing that. Allows us not just obviously to collaborate with Irish universities, but also with great partners from around Europe, as indeed is the case in the ProACT project here as well. So why is IBM involved in this particular project? I suppose you might expect that as an IT company, we have an amount of experience in dealing with, in providing technology solutions to healthcare providers around the world, and that's certainly true. And one of the learnings from all that experience we have as a provider in the healthcare system is something that I think a lot of us instinctively know if we have any involvement with health issues for ourselves or relatives, is that there's a huge amount of value in the data that's already in the health system, but it's a huge challenge to join the dots and get the value out of it. And it's obvious at one level, but I think from our IT background, we have a lot of practical experience in the nitty-gritties of that. Another reason you might be less familiar with, or perhaps even surprised by, is that IBM is actually quite a significant buyer of healthcare services ourselves. In the US, we procure, we've several decades of experience of procuring healthcare services for our employees and our retirees. So we fund that a lot ourselves. And some of the learnings from that experience as a buyer of healthcare services is that we really have quite a visceral understanding of the value of things like primary care rather than acute care, which is something that I think resonates certainly in the Irish context as well. And also in the importance of empowering the patient to look after their own conditions and to self-manage, as Siba has said earlier. The third reason why this is such a great fit for IBM to be involved in is that healthcare has become our company's next moonshot, if I can use that term, in the sense that we recognize from the experiences I've mentioned already the huge potential for technology to bring value in healthcare. And we also happen to think that we've got some technologies, particularly in the area of data analytics and cognitive computing, that can really make a difference. In fact, as a company with 100 years of history behind us in IT, I think I can truthfully say this is probably the most exciting time to be in an IT company. I mean, for decades we've been involved in, forgive me, the more boring back office, business of making sure banks work and airline reservation systems work and all of that. But it's really now becoming possible for IT to make an enormous difference in people's lives, and there's no better example of that than healthcare. So those are some of the reasons. I hope I've managed to give you some picture for why this is an important project for us to be involved in. So let me just wrap up very, very succinctly with this way. To be involved in this kind of multidisciplinary project is exactly the kind of research we want to be involved in. The other speakers have touched on the importance of the particular project here, the difficulties of multimorbidity and so on, the societal impact and the costs of all of that. So nobody can question that it's definitely a good thing to be aiming to ease the burden on the health systems by helping people to live independently. I think we can all sign up to that. I want to pick up on something that John Dinsmore mentioned. He glibly threw out the statistic that the success rate in the application process for this funding was 2.8%. So think about that for a second. I'm sure the actual number is well more than 100, but of the hundreds of teams all around Europe who are all very highly qualified academics and industrial partners, 2.8% of them succeeded in winning the funding from the European Commission. So it's no small feat to do that. So congratulations to him and the rest of the team. And now starts the real fun. I want to wish you the very, very best of luck in turning that into a really successful project and seeing the positive outcomes from it. Well done. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Barry, for that. And our Minister needs to depart at this moment for some business in the Dáil. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Provost. Okay. And it's all good news, I'm told, on a positive announcement regarding healthcare funding. So we'll allow that. I now would like to call on our final speaker, Dr. Galusa Borge, who is the President of ASP City of Bologna. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon everybody. First of all, I want to thank all the partners of this network, and especially the Trinity College of Dublin. ASP, Azienda Servizi alla Persona, is the main public service provider in Emilia-Romagna region, and is the public company of the municipality of Bologna. Bologna is the capital of Emilia-Romagna region that has 4 million people, the region, and 1 million, the metropolitan city of Bologna. ASP provides integrated social services in 4 main areas of intervention: elderly people, adults in condition of social marginality, minors and families in condition of marginality, and the refugees. And this is a big team now in our country, an enormous team, refugees and asylum seekers. Our context, as well as that of many other European countries, is challenged by the aging of the population. Emilia-Romagna is the second region in Italy with the highest rate of aging, with overall consequences that we all know in terms of increasing needs and the demand for services. The advancement of chronic disease and multimorbidity and the sustainability of welfare. Emilia-Romagna region has identified in the prevention and in the development of community service and in home care services the strategy to diminishing improper hospitalization and its social and economic costs. Very high. ASP provides a wide range of flexible services to elderly for guaranteeing their well-being and the sustainability of long-term care. We have different type of services in a single area in our city, 5 areas in our city, with multifunctional centers for elderly people, residential structures, daily care center, daily care specialized centers for elderly with dementia and their family, and protected apartment, senior housing, sort of senior housing. ASP take care about 700 people, older people in this multifunctional center, and over 2,000 in their home. We have a great interest in technology, in innovation, and their application in health and social sector. And we are happy to have a reliable partner in AIAS, that from 30 years works from Bologna in all our country, in all Italy, works about social integration of disabled people through technology. Really a great experience. From our point of view, the most important outcome of ProACT, of this network, and of the development of new technological devices and digital platforms should be a more effective integration of health and social services. Integration is the key for our work, is the key every day for our work in linking health services and social services. Also at the organizational level, a higher quality of the care setting and a more sustainable ecosystem of care through the full recognition of the important role of families and the communities, and thus the integration between formal and informal carers, thousands and thousands in the home of our older people in Bologna, in Emilia-Romagna, and in our country. For me, for ASP, it's very important to be here. To be in this network, and we need innovation, know and made best practices, and we need exchange experience. So let's go together. Grazie.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Now, it gives me the pleasure to thank you all for your attention, for being here this afternoon. I particularly want to thank our patients and their carers who are here. I particularly want to thank Brendan and Candice, who are here, and thank you very much, because this is all about the patient and it's all about the carers, and you're really going to be the judge of whether this is any good or not, or whether this works. So your input is absolutely critical, and I really, really want to thank you on behalf of everybody for your presence here today, so thank you. Finally, I want to thank the team. Events like this just don't happen. I want to thank our own offices at Trinity, particularly our communications office, Caoimhe Hannigan, John's team, Emma Murphy, Joan Cahill. I want to thank the School of Nursing and Midwifery, particularly want to thank Professor Anne-Marie Brady, the head of school, Catherine Comiskey, and Jenny Ryan, who's our events organiser. So thank you everyone for that. And finally, it just gives me great pleasure to welcome you all outside again for a cup of coffee and some light refreshments, and to wish the project very well. And I hope in my position as Dean and my role as a member of the ProACT team that I can give you whatever assistance I can give over the next 3.5 years. I will absolutely do that. So well done, John, and to your team, and wishing the project well. Thank you very much.